There are exactly 3 things I know about Jeff, my roommate. He's allergic to silence. He leaves his socks in random places like there's some kind of treasure trail. He exists solely to ruin my life. Okay, maybe that's dramatic. But when you're me, quiet, average, perfectly content with keeping to yourself, having Jeff as a roommate is basically a slow torture experiment. And the cruelest part, I didn't even choose this. My first roommate bailed last semester for some study abroad thing, and housing tossed Jeff in here as a replacement. Replacement is a generous word. He's more like a natural disaster the office failed to warn me about. The guy doesn't enter a room. He bursts in like he's announcing himself on stage. Loud, messy. All eyes are on him. Meanwhile, I like things simple, quiet, predictable. A mug of tea, a neat desk, a chance to get through my chem notes without background noise. I'm not exciting, and I don't need to be. But Jeff is like caffeine injected straight into your veins. Right now, he's humming off key while throwing open the fridge door. And by humming, I mean full volume butchering of some pop song, complete with little head bobs like he's performing to an invisible crowd. I grip my pen tighter and stare at my notes like I can will myself into another universe. Yo, Hop, Jeff calls, his voice carrying over the clink of bottles. You look like a grandpa, all hunched over like that. Want me to get you a cane? Or knitting needles? Something to spice up the retirement home vibes? I don't look up. Eye contact is dangerous. It usually ends with him grinning like he just scored points in some game I never agreed to play. Some of us study, I mumble. You should try it sometime. He laughs, loud, warm, irritatingly infectious. The kind of laugh that sticks in your chest long after it fades. God, I hate him. Or at least, I want to. The windows rattle suddenly, jolting me. Outside, the sky's already the color of dirty dishwater, snow flurries blurring the view of the street below. My stomach dips. If this storm gets worse, I'll be stuck here, with him. My phone buzzes on the desk. A campus alert. I skim the words and feel my soul leave my body. Campus shut down. All classes canceled. Severe snowstorm incoming. Stay indoors. Classes resume on Monday. I groan and slump back in my chair. No. It's Thursday today. Jeff shuts the fridge with his hip, sandwich in hand. What's wrong, princess? Don't call me that. Fine. Prince? Duke? Count Hopper the Third? I shove my phone toward him. He squints at the alert and grins like it's good news. Snow day, baby. Looks like it's just you and me. My stomach twists. I would literally rather shovel the entire city than spend 4 days cooped up with him. As if the universe is in on the joke, the heater lets out a pathetic wheeze, coughs once, and dies. The vents go cold instantly. It has been acting crazy for a week, and now finally decided to die on a perfect day. I press my palm against the metal, like maybe I can bribe it back to life. No luck. You've got to be kidding me. Jeff crouches beside me, way too close, his cologne filling my nose. Woodsy. Crisp, infuriatingly good. What's wrong, Hop? Cold already? Didn't pack your thermal onesie? I glare. Some of us don't run hot like a human bonfire. He flashes a grin. Lucky for you, I do. My face warms so fast it's humiliating. I whip back toward my notebook, scribbling nonsense formulas just so I don't have to admit he's right. By evening, the storm is howling, snow slamming against the building in thick waves. The balcony's buried, windows fogged. The power's flickering, the heater's still dead, and the only thing standing between me and hypothermia is one thin blanket. I curl up on the couch, wrapped in it like a burrito. My toes are numb. My nose is red. I'm considering doubling my socks when Jeff strolls in wearing just a t-shirt, like a smug idiot immune to nature itself. He drops onto the couch beside me, stretching out as if the whole place belongs to him. Move, I mutter, pulling my blanket tighter. Relax, he says, nudging my knee with his. You're not using the whole couch. Yes, I am. You're 5'8", Hop. I'm 6'2". Basic math says you can share before I can argue. He tugs at the blanket, stealing half. It slides across his broad shoulders, draping down his stupid long legs. Hey, I snap, trying to yank it back. Sharing is caring, he sing-songs, already settling in. I freeze. I should rip it away. I should shove him off the couch. But my body betrays me, leaning toward the warmth radiating off him. Every brush of his arm against mine makes my heart lurch, clumsy and uneven. This sucks, I mutter, eyes glued to the flickering TV. Jeff yawns, stretching until his arm rests along the back of the couch, dangerously close to my shoulders. You'll survive. You're tougher than you look. I risk one glance at him and instantly regret it. His blue eyes are lit with amusement, hair falling into his face in messy waves. Then he smirks. Though, for the record, you do look like a grumpy little snow princess right now. I choke. Excuse me. You heard me. Princess Hopper, heir to the Frozen Kingdom. I want to tell him to shut up. I want to shove him off. But all that comes out is a weak, "You're insufferable." And maybe, just maybe, a smile I hope he didn't see. Because outside, the storm is freezing. The heater is dead. And Jeff is warm under the blanket beside me. And the scariest part? I'm not sure I hate it as much as I should. At night. If there's one thing worse than being trapped with Jeff during a snowstorm, it's being trapped with Jeff when he decides to cook. He's standing at the stove right now, squinting down into a pot of what's supposed to be ramen. I can smell the disaster before I even see it. You're doing it wrong, I blurt, my voice sharper than intended. Jeff glances over his shoulder, spoon dangling from his hand. It's ramen, Hop. You dump the noodles, add water, boom. Chef Gordon Ramsay would weep with joy. I stand behind him, arms crossed, watching in slow horror as he dumps the flavor packet in before the noodles are even soft. You're supposed to wait, I mutter. Wait for what? Noodle enlightenment? He smirks, stirring anyway. I groan. You can't just, no. That's going to be salty cardboard. You ruin everything. Jeff chuckles, and for some reason the sound makes my ears warm. Correction, I ruin everything for you. Everyone else? I'm a delight. I want to argue, but the truth is he's not wrong. Professors laugh at his dumb jokes. Our neighbors invite him to parties I don't even hear about. Last semester during finals, he played beer pong in the lounge and still pulled a B+ in econ. Meanwhile, I studied 12 hours a day and nearly combusted. But I can't admit that out loud. So instead, I mutter, delightful isn't the word I'd use. Jeff grins, unfazed. Then what word would you use? I hesitate. Annoying, infuriating, distracting, hot. Definitely not that last one. Insufferable, I finally say. Ah! He points the spoon at me like it's a weapon. Insufferably charming, you mean. The ramen boils over and I leap forward with a hiss. You're hopeless. I snatch the spoon, turning the heat down and stirring properly. My hand brushes his when I grab the handle, and it's like touching a live wire. My pulse stumbles. I shove the spoon back at him a little too hard. Just don't burn it. His grin widens. He noticed. I know he did. Later, when we're eating on the couch, the blanket war starts again. Jeff sprawls across the cushions like he owns them, tugging more fabric his way. Dude, your death grip on this thing is insane. It's just a blanket. It's my blanket, I snap, yanking it back. Our blanket, he corrects, because of course he would. We wrestle for it like children until the power flickers, then cuts out completely. The TV dies, the lamps blink off, and the whole apartment plunges into black. Perfect, I mutter into the dark. Just perfect. There's a beat of silence before Jeff laughs. Don't sound too thrilled, Hop. It's just a blackout. Easy for you to say, I grumble, tugging the blanket tighter. You're basically a walking space heater. And you're a grumpy penguin. I blink. What? Jeff's voice softens through the dark. You know. All huddled up, waddling around, glaring at the world. But secretly kind of cute. I'm glad he can't see my face because I know it's red. My chest feels tight, confused. Jeff doesn't do soft. Jeff does jokes, noise, and chaos. This tone, gentle, teasing, but almost kind. It throws me off balance. Shut up, I whisper, my voice too thin to sound convincing. But instead of pushing, Jeff just shifts closer, shoulder brushing mine. The blanket pools around us both, trapping his warmth against me. I stiffen, torn between jerking away and leaning in. I tell myself it's only the cold making me tolerate this. That's the logical excuse. But the truth is, this isn't the first time Jeff's gotten under my skin. Last semester, when I pulled an all-nighter before my chemistry midterm, he came back at 3 a.m. drunk from some party. I thought he'd make noise, but instead, he saw me drooping over my desk and muttered, "Don't fry your brain, Hop," before tossing a granola bar at me and collapsing into bed. I pretended to be annoyed, but I ate it. And then there was the time I got cornered in the cafeteria line by some jerk making fun of my notes, and Jeff, who'd mocked me that morning for highlighting in rainbow colors, suddenly appeared, slung an arm around me, and said, "Back off. He's mine." The guy looked terrified and walked away. Jeff just grinned like it was a joke. My ears burned for an hour. Those moments don't fit neatly into the box I've shoved him into. The loud, obnoxious roommate I can't stand box. They don't make sense. And now, sitting here in the pitch-black storm with his knee pressed against mine, I don't know what to do with the way my heart keeps skipping. The wind shrieks outside, rattling the windows. My phone flashlight flickers uselessly against the shadows. Jeff shifts, pulling the blanket higher over us. His arm brushes mine again, deliberate this time. "You'll survive, Hop," he says quietly. "Grumpy penguins are tough." I laugh, a small, awkward sound. "You're ridiculous." Maybe. His voice is softer now, almost swallowed by the storm. "But you like it." I don't answer, because if I open my mouth, I'm not sure what might come out. So I just sit there in the dark, pressed against him, telling myself I'm only stealing his warmth, telling myself it doesn't mean anything, even though part of me knows it does. Next morning, I should have known Jeff wouldn't let a snowed-in weekend pass without making it about him. Again, we'd spent the morning trying to clear the hallway of the snowdrift piled against the front door. My legs were sore from crouching. My arms were trembling from shoveling. And my hands were numb despite the gloves. And there he was, standing in the middle of the living room with his phone in hand, grinning like a man who'd just discovered he owned the world. "Hop! Check this out," he called. I groaned, tightening the blanket around my shoulders, wishing I could vanish into it. "What is it this time, world conqueror?" Jeff plopped on the couch opposite me, legs sprawled like he was auditioning for a magazine cover. "Just a little video call with someone. You'll love her. Or him. Actually, probably her." I froze. The moment my brain realized he was flirting again, my stomach twisted into a knot. My fingers itched to throw the blanket at him, but I gripped it tighter around myself instead. "Really, Jeff? Right now?" My voice was sharper than intended. "Right in front of me, the guy who supposedly hates everything social?" He laughed, blue eyes sparkling, a mischievous tilt to his grin. "Oh, come on, Hop. I'm just having a little fun. Don't tell me you're jealous." He looked me in my eyes as if to see if I was indeed jealous. "Jealous? Me? Ha," I scoffed. "Jealous? Please. I've got a full-time job keeping my blood pressure under control around you, that's all." He tilted his head like he could see straight through me. "Uh-huh. Sure you do. Totally not green with envy over some random stranger flirting back." I clenched my fists in the blanket, hiding my face. Why did it feel like he knew? He always did, in that annoying, infuriating way. Like the time last month when he had accidentally bumped into me while I was carrying my laptop. That stupid grin, his casual charm, it was enough to ruin my composure for an entire day. Or the time he offered to help me with chemistry because I looked stressed and ended up holding my hand for longer than necessary while we leaned over the periodic table. Yeah, I hated him. Totally. Are you even listening to me? Jeff's voice cut through my spiraling thoughts. I'm listening, I snapped, and instantly regretted the sharpness. I just don't see the point in flaunting it in front of me. Flaunting it. He laughed, reaching out to nudge my shoulder. Relax, Hop. You're so tense, it's hilarious. I yelped, jerking away and accidentally smacking the coffee table. Ow, careful. He grinned, unfazed. See? That's exactly why I'm funny. You're all flustered? I sputtered. I am not flustered. I am annoyed. He leaned forward closer than necessary, and that's when my brain short-circuited. His arm brushed mine. I felt heat flood my chest, my stomach, my entire being. I wanted to pull away, and I did, sort of, but also didn't. You're ridiculous, I muttered under my breath, but my voice had that weird squeak in it again. Oh, I know, he said softly, smirk fading for just a moment. But I kinda like it. I froze. And of course, that's when his phone buzzed. A message popped up on screen from the person he'd been calling, and the flirty, playful tone made my chest tighten in a way that was almost painful. Wow, Mr. Ladies Man, I blurted before I could stop myself. Still at it even when the world is freezing? Jeff blinked, startled, then smirked like he hadn't expected the outburst. Jealous, Hop? I am not jealous, I shouted, waving my hands around like a complete idiot. Uh-huh. His smirk widened, and I swear he moved just a little closer on purpose. That's when it happened. The banter escalated faster than I could think. I shoved him in frustration. He shoved me back. I yelped and tried to step back, but his chest pressed against mine, and the world seemed to pause. Our faces were inches apart. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would burst. I could feel the warmth radiating off him, that stupid, infuriating warmth. My brain went blank. Hop. His voice was low, hesitant. I panicked. Pushed him. Well, tried to push him, but somehow ended up pressed against the couch cushions. He leaned just slightly toward me, and for a terrifying electric second, I could feel the pull, the almost kiss hovering between us. I scrambled back, fumbling with the blanket, cheeks on fire. You're impossible. Jeff straightened too, smirk fading into something unreadable. You're flustered, he said quietly, almost like he was testing it, not mocking. I am not, I hissed, glancing away. I'm fine, totally fine. And stop looking at me like that. He tilted his head, blue eyes holding mine with that infuriatingly direct intensity, and I could feel the tension vibrating between us. My thoughts were a mess of irritation, embarrassment, and something else. Something dangerously close to wanting him closer again. After a few seconds of frozen silence, he finally laughed softly, the tension breaking. Fine, Snow Princess, he teased, dragging the blanket a little closer again. You win, this round. I muttered something unintelligible, face burning, wishing I could disappear under the couch cushions. And yet, despite the heat, the flustered embarrassment, the awkward shoving, I couldn't stop thinking about how it felt to be that close. How his chest pressed against mine. How his hand had brushed mine while adjusting the blanket. How every look, every word, every tease made my heart thump like an idiot trapped in a blizzard. I hate him. I really, really hate him. But maybe, just maybe, that hate was starting to feel a little like something else. Later that afternoon, I should have known the universe had it out for me. After the incident in the morning, whatever you call it, I tried to act normal. Kind of. But that's hard when every time Jeff laughs, my chest tightens, and my brain threatens a full-scale rebellion. The remaining hour went innocently enough. I was trying to fix the heater again after the power came back, crouched on the floor with wires and pliers, ignoring the pounding snow outside. Jeff was sprawled across the couch, scrolling on his phone, looking way too comfortable, of course. And then I heard it. His voice, low and unmistakable, carried from the couch just a few feet away. Honestly, trapping Hopper with me in the storm? Kind of fun. Watching him squirm is fun. I froze, pliers halfway to the heater, my chest constricted. Did I hear that right? Watching me squirm is fun. That's not playful. That's cruel. He's been playing me. I wanted to call him out, scream, throw something. Instead, my hands fumbled so badly that I nearly dropped the pliers on my own foot. Classic Hopper. I muttered under my breath. He's impossible. But it wasn't just impossible. My stomach knotted in a weird mix of anger and hurt. He'd been toying with me. All this teasing, all these close moments, the accidental touches, he'd been enjoying it the whole time. And somehow I'd been stupid enough to think, maybe No, stop. He's not. He's cruel. I withdrew completely. When he nudged me with the blanket later, I stiffened. When he tried to brush past me to reach the kettle, I subtly stepped aside. Every accidental shoulder brush that had made my chest flutter yesterday, I pulled back before it could happen again. Jeff noticed, of course. He always notices. Hop? He asked later, voice soft, cautious. You're cold. What's wrong? I grumbled something unintelligible and buried my hands in my lap, staring at the heater like it might answer my questions. He huffed, leaning back on the couch, crossed arms and a frown that actually looked frustrated. Okay, seriously? What did I do? You know what you did, I muttered, clumsily avoiding his gaze. No, I don't, he said, eyes narrowing. Explain, or I swear I'm never sharing a blanket with you again. I wanted to tell him. I wanted to say, you said it. You admitted it. You're cruel. But something in me also didn't want to give him that power. So I muttered, it's nothing. Nothing? He repeated, incredulous. Hop, come on, don't give me that. You've been cold after we almost kissed. Now you're practically ignoring me. I tensed, fiddling with the blanket, cheeks burning. I was ignoring him. I couldn't help it. Every glance at him, every accidental memory of how close we'd been. It stung too much now, knowing or thinking that it had all been for his amusement. Jeff's eyes softened, but there was still that stubborn edge. If I did something, you did, I snapped, a little louder than intended, then immediately regretted it. You're cruel, Jeff. You think this is all a joke. That messing with me is fun. Well, it's not. It's annoying. And frustrating. And I buried my face in the blanket, muttering nonsense. Classic Hopper, clumsy, flustered, incapable of calm conversation. He leaned forward, putting a tentative hand near mine but not touching it. Hop, listen, I'm not trying to hurt you. I didn't mean it like that. You think I was... What? Trolling you for fun? That's not it. I stiffened further, though part of me wanted to reach out and grab that hand, wanted to feel the warmth I'd been denying myself. My stubborn pride and wounded feelings won this round, though. I muttered, then, stop calling it fun. Stop teasing me. Jeff blinked, frustrated, then sighed. Fine. I'll stop teasing. But you're acting like a completely different person. The tension yesterday? That wasn't all me, Hop. You weren't normal either. I shook my head, cheeks burning. Normal? I'm perfectly normal. You're the problem." He groaned, flopping back on the couch, throwing a pillow over his face. I could hear him muttering something about emotional walls and clueless roommates. And yes, that might have been directed at me. I stayed on the floor, fiddling with the wires and blanket, trying not to glance at him. Every time I did, my chest tightened, and I had to remind myself, he's cruel. He said it. Watching me squirm is fun, and yet, when he sighed so loudly that the pillow quivered, when his bare arm stretched out carelessly across the couch, I felt a pang. A small, infuriating pang of longing? Number? I hate that. I buried myself in the blanket, clumsy, annoyed, hurt, but secretly aware of just how much I was missing him. Evening. I thought I could survive the rest of the storm without Jeff. You know, like a rational human being. Alone. Safe. Peaceful. Wrong. Because, of course, as if the universe were conspiring against me, there was a knock at the door. And standing there, grinning like a walking sunbeam, was Alex. Jeff's friend. Flirty, oblivious, and way too cheerful for my fragile snow blizzard nerves. Sandy blonde hair falling over his forehead, hazel eyes sparkling. He looked like he belonged in a rom-com, not in our disaster of an apartment. "Hey, snowed in, huh?" Alex said, brushing snow off his jacket. "Mind if I hang out?" "The roads are a nightmare," I groaned internally. "Oh great, third wheel incoming." Jeff immediately lit up, hopping to open the door wider than necessary. "Alex!" "Perfect timing. Come in, man. We've got blankets, snacks." And there it was, the laugh. That infuriating, warm, easy laugh Jeff reserved for people he liked. Alex chuckled, nudging Jeff playfully. And I swear, my chest constricted in ways that had nothing to do with the cold. I slumped into my corner of the couch, clutching a blanket around me like a shield. I couldn't stop noticing how animated Jeff looked, how alive he seemed when he wasn't teasing me. Every time he smiled at Alex, my stomach twisted. Jealousy burned hotter than the non-existent heater. "Wow," I muttered under my breath, but loud enough for Jeff to hear, my eyes glazing at Alex, who was at a distance near the window to search the network on his phone. Big shocker. "You're fun around literally everyone except me." Jeff froze, and for a second I thought he might ignore it. But no. That smirk, the one that usually drove me insane, faltered just slightly. "Hop?" His voice softened, cautious. "It's not like that." Not like that?" I sputtered, heat crawling up my neck. "You love the attention. That's it. You like people noticing you, laughing with them, teasing them. That's why you—" I gestured wildly toward Alex. You're like this, with me." Jeff blinked, then let out a low laugh, but this one wasn't mocking. It was vulnerable. "Hop, no, you don't get it." "Oh, enlighten me, Mr. Expert on being unbearable." I flopped back into the couch, arms crossed, feeling ridiculous and, yes, flustered. He sighed, running a hand through his messy hair, his mischievous armor cracking just enough to show the real him. "I like that you're annoyed at me. That you care. Not Alex. Not anyone else. Only you, Hop. You're the one I want attention from. You and no one else. While everybody is just passing blur." My heart stuttered. I stared at him, clumsy and dumbstruck. He wasn't joking. He wasn't teasing. He wasn't playing me. He was serious. Vulnerable, even. I opened my mouth, closed it, muttered something unintelligible, then muttered, "You're impossible," and irritating, and stupid. Jeff's grin returned, slower this time, soft and real. "Yeah, but at least you finally know the truth," Alex, oblivious to the tension, kept flitting around, joking and nudging Jeff, and I felt that jealousy flare again. But it wasn't just jealousy anymore. It was realization. My feelings were ridiculous, irrational, and entirely focused on Jeff. I grabbed a book and slumped back on the couch. Hop? Jeff's voice drew me out of my thoughts. You okay? I flopped into the blanket again, pretending to fuss with it. I'm fine, I mumbled, though my pulse was doing things I refused to acknowledge. Good, he said, settling beside me with a careful nudge of his shoulder. Close, but not too close. Tentative. Like he wasn't sure I'd let him. I wanted to push him away. I wanted to run. I also wanted to lean into him. Stupid brain, stupid heart, stupid Jeff. Alex thankfully finally left for the balcony, saying he might find a network outside, giving us a sliver of privacy. Jeff glanced at me, a flicker of hope in his blue eyes. You're still mad, he said softly. I huffed, fiddling with the book like a nervous fool. I'm not mad, just irritated and a little jealous. Happy? He laughed, brushing a stray hair from his forehead. Jealous, huh? I'll take it. Means you care. And good. Because I care too. About you. Only you. I blinked, chest tightening, heat crawling up my neck, my brain screaming, he's serious, he's serious. I muttered something like, you're ridiculous, and buried my face in the pages, cheeks burning. Classic Hopper, clumsy, flustered, slightly in love. Jeff leaned closer, careful not to crowd me, and whispered, and you're adorable when you're flustered. I nearly choked. Nearly. The next morning. The night had been hell. Not the kind of hell that involves screaming demons or anything dramatic. Number. This was the slow, simmering, gnawing kind of hell where every time I closed my eyes, I saw Jeff laughing, leaning too close, brushing his fingers against mine without meaning to. And yet, every memory, every accidental touch now felt poisoned. Jealousy had wormed itself into my chest, gnawing, and I couldn't sleep, couldn't think, couldn't even breathe right without feeling this stupid hot knot of emotion. By morning, the snowstorm outside hadn't let up. Flakes piled against the windows like the world was trying to bury us alive. I tried to act normal, poured cereal into a bowl, and sat on the edge of the couch, hoping Jeff would stay busy with Alex or some other distraction. Of course, that didn't happen. Jeff and Alex were sitting together at the little kitchen table whispering, sharing some inside joke. They glanced at me once. Jeff smirked in that maddening way, and my stomach dropped like a rock. My mind immediately jumped to conclusions. Alex's flirty gestures toward Jeff? Obvious. Jeff's smirk? Proof. He was laughing at Alex. Maybe even flirting back. I just couldn't. Excuse me, I muttered, shoving my cereal aside. The words were sharper than intended. My voice cracked slightly, betraying me. I'm going inside. I stormed past them, boots clumping against the floor, blanket clutched around me like a shield. My heart was hammering, my head spinning, my chest tight in a way that made it hard to breathe. Hop, wait, Jeff's voice called after me. I didn't look back. I didn't want to. My room door slammed behind me, muffling his protests. Minutes later, there was a knock at the door. I ignored it. Then another, louder. Hopper, please open the door, Jeff said softly, almost vulnerable. I was clumsy in my fury, fingers trembling as I twisted the blanket tighter around myself. Go away, Jeff. You'll never get it right. You'll never be fixated on one person. You can't even, you'll never get real love with the kind of personality you have. I didn't mean to be cruel, but the words spat themselves out before I could stop them. You're better off being like this because you can't, you're impossible. Silence. And then a sharp, low sound of hurt. I knew instantly it was Jeff. You really think that, huh? His voice was quiet, broken, and I felt my chest twist. I hadn't meant to hurt him like this. Not that much. Before I could apologize, he chuckled sadly. And a second later, the front door slammed closed. I gingerly looked outside my room in panic, only to find Alex staring at the front closed door in stunned silence. Before he turned to look at me, I shut my door before he could comment. I was in no condition to talk to anyone. 5 hours later, the snowstorm howled outside. My stomach dropped. Panic set in. I didn't hear anything from Jeff for hours. The afternoon turned into evening. The snowstorm raged, white flakes blurring the world outside. I finally left my room and paced around in the living area, panicked. My hands shook as I checked the windows and doors for any sign of him. What if he... I couldn't even think it. Alex, who was preparing to leave, finally noticing my panic, came over, shaking his head. "Hopper, calm down. He's fine." "Calm down?" I snapped, pacing like a maniac. "He's out there, in the snow." I yelled at him. I didn't mean it, but... Alex placed a steady hand on my shoulder. "I know. And I know exactly what happened. That breakfast incident? Totally misinterpreted. I might have teased him a bit, tried to get him to, admit he liked you, but nothing more. I'm in a relationship, Hopper. You don't have to worry about me." I froze, blinking. "Wait, you mean it wasn't..." Alex shook his head. "No. And Jeff's hurt because of what you said. I heard everything. You lashed out in jealousy. Classic Hop move." My stomach twisted. "Oh, no. Alex's voice was calm, gentle. "Relax. We'll find him. You're overthinking this." We searched together, the snow crunching under our boots. Finally, near an abandoned garage where a small bonfire was struggling against the wind, we found him. Jeff was hunched over, shoulders trembling, face buried in his arms. "Jeff," I whispered, voice cracking. My heart thumped painfully. He didn't move. I rushed forward, flinging my arms around him, hugging him tight. His body stiffened. "Ah, Hopper." His voice was muffled against my shoulder, hesitant, hurt. "Oh, thank God." "You're okay. You're safe," I whispered, tightening my grip. "Please, just come home." He hesitated, then relaxed slightly, the tension still in his arms but letting me hold him. The warmth of his body against mine made my chest ache in relief. I pulled away and gripped his hand tightly in fear that he wouldn't agree to come with me, until Alex patted Jeff's shoulder and muttered something in his ear that made Jeff look at me once, his eyes softening, before he nodded to Alex. "Sort it out, both of you," said Alex before he left. Back at the apartment, I grabbed 2 cups of hot chocolate, hands trembling. We sat side by side on the couch. The blankets tugged around us. Jeff broke the silence first. "Look, I acted impulsively. I shouldn't have encouraged Alex like that this morning, but trust me, we were not flirting. But then your reaction was valid." I scooted closer, holding his hand with both of mine, urgency in my grip. "No, it was me. I acted impulsively. I'm new to this, whatever this feeling is. I don't know how to behave." He chuckled softly, brushing my hair from my forehead, cradling my face with his hands. "It's high time I teach you how to behave when you like someone, Hop." My heart stuttered, chest tightening in that familiar, ridiculous way. "I didn't mean it that way." He leaned closer, eyes locking with mine. "You don't have to pretend you're tough, clumsy, or annoyed around me. I like all of it. But I want you to be vocal, Hop. Do you like me back?" I swallowed, heat rushing to my cheeks. I like you too, Jeff. More than I should." He smiled softly, just inches from me, breath mingling with mine. "Good. Because I think I've liked you from the start." My heart nearly stopped. "You... really?" "Yes. All the teasing, the pushing, the accidental touches. It's all been me trying not to fall completely in love with you." I let out a shaky laugh. "Well, you failed." He grinned, leaning even closer, tilting his head. And then, our lips met. Soft at first, tentative, testing the waters, and then the world melted away. We pulled back slightly, foreheads resting together. "Hop, you're warm," he murmured. I chuckled, clinging to him. "And you make me feel safe. Please, stay. I'm not going anywhere," he whispered, hand brushing mine over the blanket, thumb stroking softly. We sat like that, side by side, talking in hushed tones, hands entwined. The storm raging outside, but forgotten. Every confession, every laugh, every lingering touch made the fire between us burn brighter. Eventually, the kiss deepened, slow and full of everything we'd been holding back. Fear, longing, confusion, surrender. I felt his warmth seep into me, grounding me, making me feel safe. My own hands tangled in his hair, holding him close, leaning into every second of this. The snowstorm outside raged, but inside, our world had shrunk to just the two of us. Hearts pounding, breaths mingling, and the quiet, undeniable truth. Hate had melted into heat, annoyance into passion, rivalry into love. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was fumbling through emotions alone. Jeff was there, and I was, letting myself fall. Epilogue. A year later. It's kind of funny, in a way. A year ago, I would have died just walking past Jeff without arguing about something, anything. And now, here we are, final semester done, still managing to bicker over absolutely everything. Today, it's a question paper sprawled across a bench outside campus. I'm squinting at some ridiculous math problem, muttering under my breath about how obviously wrong the answer choices are. Jeff leans over, blue eyes sparkling with that infuriating grin, and says, "You know, you could at least try to do it right instead of complaining." Like a dramatic snow princess, I freeze, one hand hovering over my pencil. Snow princess? Really? You're never letting that go, huh? Never, he says proudly, tapping the paper with his pen. I roll my eyes but can't help the smirk tugging at my lips. "Well, your expert opinion is obviously flawed, mister. I know everything about everything but math." He laughs, leaning back casually, looking way too smug. "And yet, somehow, you still manage to annoy me every single day." I'd say it's impressive, but it's exhausting with your overthinking brain. I snort, shaking my head, when, out of nowhere, a tiny snowflake drifts down and lands right on the tip of his nose. Time freezes. I swear I can hear the wind hush for a second. He doesn't even notice at first, just grinning at me, but the snowflake melts against his skin, and I can't resist. I freeze, cheeks heating up, before chuckling softly. He blinks, looks down at me, confused. "What?" I shrug, trying to play it cool but failing miserably. "Nothing. Just, you look ridiculous with snow on your nose." Jeff leans closer, pretending to examine it like he's some kind of scientist. "Ridiculous, huh? Maybe I'm trying to make you freeze in awe, Hopper?" I roll my eyes, hiding the heat creeping up my neck. "Yeah, keep telling yourself that." And then it happens. The sky darkens slightly and snow begins to fall gently, not like last year's wild storm, but soft, steady, and peaceful. Snowflakes swirl around us, brushing against our hair, our shoulders, and somehow, it feels like a gift. Jeff nudges me with his elbow, playful but tender. "You know, last year the snow was terrifying. And yet, here we are. Seems like we got the hang of it." I glance up at him, heart tightening in that familiar way. "Yeah. Last year's snow brought chaos. This year..." I let the words hang, then grin. "It brought us this." He smirks, brushing a flake from my hair with his gloved hand. "I'll take it." I scoot closer under the blanket we've brought, and for a moment the world is just us, the snow, and laughter drifting between the flurries. I reach out, fingers brushing his, holding them a moment longer than necessary. "Hop," he murmurs softly, leaning closer. "Yeah?" I whisper back, breath misting in the cold air. He smiles, that soft, genuine smile that makes my knees go weak even after a year. Merry Snow Day? I chuckle, shaking my head, and lean against him. Merry Snow Day, Jeff. Let's never stop being ridiculous together. Snow swirls around us, white and silent, and I realize this time snow isn't freezing, chaotic, or scary. This year, snow is warmth, laughter, and maybe, just maybe, the start of a lifetime of cozy winter mornings with Jeff. And I wouldn't have it any other way. The end. Ever been stuck with someone you can't stand and somehow can't stop noticing? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to become part of our Rainbow Force, and consider joining our membership for early access and exclusive content. Stay wholesome.